Hello everyone, today I am playing Hercules the Untold Stories by GA Game Studio. It is being made in the Unity engine. The developers sent me a copy, or not a copy, they just sent me the link to where you can download this. I'll leave a link in the description below to that and their Kickstarter, which has already been fully funded apparently. They only required a small amount of money compared to some other projects, which is pretty impressive. It's an action-adventure game similar to God of War, but it has like puzzle-solving elements, and I'm just going to be doing a commentary over some gameplay footage, and I'll be talking about the game and whatnot. If that sounds like your thing, so okay, sure. Well, this game does not run well on my computer. So yeah, if you're looking for good footage to view, I will actually recommend another YouTuber who made a video on this. I think his name is Fellow Player. He left also one of his videos on the itch.io page for this game, and his footage is way better than mine, presentation-wise. So if you're looking to just see better gameplay and better frame rate and somewhat better performance, this game is kind of riddled with bugs. I mainly got a lot of audio bugs, but yeah, the game doesn't perform very well on my computer regardless, and that's kind of a disappointment. I feel like hopefully it'll be fixed in the future. The game developers can add an options menu which allows you to just kind of mess with everything, like maybe not so much detail in the grass and not so much glow effect and particle effects going on and whatnot. It'd be nice to give players that option to downgrade the graphics so they can enjoy the game at a much higher frame rate and be able to play your game more efficiently. But anyway, I digress. Right now I'm just kind of messing around in this little patch of grass, messing around with the controls. The controls are pretty much you use the arrow keys to move around. You can press shift and one of the arrow keys to do a roll, which you'll need in the combat. You can press F to use an action, spacebar to jump, A and S for a strong or light and strong attack in that order. You can use Q to block. You can press 5 to swap time, which we'll see a lot later. You can press 4 to do a stomp attack, which I never really did. Escape your inventory. I didn't find a lot of items, so yeah. And then skills 1, 2, and 3, which I didn't really use any of them, nor did I see. Anyway, I kind of die horribly here because I came to the realization that, wow, I actually have to try in this game. But how hard do I have to try? I just have to dodge every now and then. It's not like the most complicated thing in the world. As for the combat system, I guess I'll start with that. I've never really been a fan of God of War or any of these kind of spectacle fighters, I guess you want to call. I don't know if God of War is a spectacle fighter. Someone might have to correct me on that. But yeah, these third-person, like kind of like crazy action-y games, you know. I mean, I like Zelda combat. That's as far as I'll go, though. I don't know, this gameplay doesn't really resonate with me too much, which is kind of a weird thing why I decided to play this game. The puzzle elements is what kind of got me a little interested. But also, I guess, flattery that someone would want me to play their game. But let's be honest, right? So yeah, you can attack these enemies. They're really a pushover, honestly, and I hope the final game will introduce more difficult enemies that maybe require you to dodge at a certain time and kind of have some crowd control elements to it. Maybe you'll have different powers that you can use, and certain enemies need to have different powers used on them and whatnot. Right now, all these enemies are just kind of a joke. I pretty easily defeat them. It's not the biggest deal in the world. You can't really target enemies either, so it would be really nice if you can target them. There's no real, I mean, there kind of is an AI, which is kind of interesting to think about, because it's obvious that these guys are have some form of this is when I need to attack. But I'd like to see more advanced AI and advanced enemy thinking, and I don't know the words for it. Anyway, this is kind of the first little puzzle. It kind of introduces you to how to push and pull. They use a glowing light to kind of tutorialize the whole thing, which isn't a bad thing. It's good to help out your player in the very beginning. So you can press F to like push these boxes and stuff. If you press F and spacebar, you'll climb over the box. And my voice just cracked. Great. And I'm about to sneeze. I think I'm going to sneeze, guys. If I start sneezing, then I apologize. Anyway, yeah, so we're just trying to move this box to the other side so that I can push this, or I can pull this other box on top in the middle to the wall so I can climb over the wall. And it's kind of weird because you can actually also jump. And in this game, I don't really you jump over platforms, and then you can climb as well. I got confused at first, to be honest, because I thought like, oh, there's no way to climb up ledges, so like, because I didn't read the controls that well. I feel like there's a better way to like kind of introduce the controls and stuff. I'm sure in the real game, I'm just being hopeful that the real game will actually include all these things I'm talking about. But in the final game, you want to kind of introduce these things gradually, so that the player can just kind of like come to grips with all of it. I mean, I guess you could just like throw the player in and just not tell them anything, but especially for a game like this where like there's like multiple different like systems going on, or not systems, but mechanics going on with what your character can and can't do. It's good to gradually introduce them rather than just kind of throw it all in their face at the same time. So for the final product, that's something you might want to keep in mind. Gradual introduction to game mechanics rather than just here are all the mechanics in the very beginning and just go for it. This is a demo, so I'm not going to bash on it too much. Obviously, they just wanted to show off what they have. Anyway, I'm climbing these boxes and we're getting to this weird thing in the water. I don't know what this thing is, and it really confuses me. But you can jump on top of it, and yeah. I think what I just hit actually is a checkpoint. So if I die, which I do die, I will teleport back here. For some reason, like when I died and then respawned, maybe later in the video you'll see that, the game just kind of just stopped performing as well. It was very strange. I don't know how to describe it other than the game just, the frame rate dipped even more, and like I guess it was like failed to load some things, and moving just became a real hassle, and I feel like maybe the game state didn't load properly again or something. I feel like this game could use a lot of performance optimization. It does feel a little clunky and kind of doesn't feel like it performs as well as it should. That being said, I know I have a crappy computer, so that could be entirely my fault, but still, I feel like if you just refine it to the point where it feels really smooth and good to play. Especially since, you know, this is an action adventure game, so you're going to be moving around a lot. So if you can't move, if moving around doesn't feel good, then, you know, what is the rest of the game going to be like? Here I'm trying to solve this box puzzle, and I realize, oh, I need to move this box on the other side where there's like a little gap. They don't actually show you that gap really well. I feel like a lot of people might get kind of stuck there, like, oh, I don't know, I had to like move it around. So yeah, I feel like there's a better way to like kind of present this whole obstacle to the player. It kind of makes me think about the entirety of how this game is presented, and that is you're moving left to right but you're in a 3D space. But I feel like the camera angle doesn't necessarily like let you explore that 3D space that well. So I feel like maybe you should give the player an option to like move the camera or something just a little bit. That way the player can kind of explore the environment a little better, and everything just kind of meshes well a little better, and you know, you get more explorable environments, and it just helps the player that much more. Like right now, it's just kind of like panning upward at a fixed camera angle. Like that's helpful, but you know, being able to, I don't know how you would do that, honestly. I think this way is fine. I just think that if you're going to build puzzles, you have to kind of keep certain things about the camera in mind and what the player can and can't see. So now I'm just trying to climb up this. I actually kind of struggle with climbing up these stairs sometimes because apparently if you jump and like press F, you'll do the stomp or something. And I never really understood why I kept stomping, but apparently it just doesn't feel like the controls are well tuned enough to like say this is how you climb. Like maybe like you should spread out the controls a little more and like just press a single button to climb up a ledge. If like don't share the action button with because right now the action button it turns on switches. You can use it to climb ledges. If you press the action button in air, I guess you do the stomp, and it's like the F button does so many other things. It's like you have a bunch of other like controls you can use on the keyboard, and even on the controller, you can probably rebind it to something else. So that's something to keep in mind. It was very frustrating because I kept stomping, and it's just like I just want to get off this ledge. So oh, I fell down this ledge here. That kind of annoyed me a little bit, honestly, because I feel like that there doesn't need to be like a hole there. I feel like it's punishing you for nothing, especially given the nature of the game, since it's like a 2D, like you're moving left to right in a 3D space. Like it's like, oh, I didn't see, like you can't see it from that angle, and then like you just kind of jump into it, and then I don't know. I just feel like there should be a railway that can like stop you from maybe jumping there or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a moron and I just kind of ran into that. But, here I am stomping some more. So this is the part where I kind of got really confused. So in retrospect, I actually read this again, and it said, so Hercules says the dense ivy makes this lever stuck, and yada yada yada. And then he also mentions that there's some internal parts that are like broken as well. So at first, I actually didn't like read that entire dialogue, so I was kind of confused at first because I was like, well, why can't I just use my sword to just like cut off these vines? But the internal part's broken. So I think to myself, let's move back in time. And so I do that. And then I can use a switch. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then the time mechanic gets introduced into play. And I really like that. I really like that you can go back in time, do stuff, and then come back, and then it affects other things. But as you can see, as well as the awful frame rate, you will see that things kind of don't make a lot of sense when you go back. God, this frame rate is awful. I don't know. But this part looks... I am so sorry. I am very sorry about this. I'm sure people are turning off the video right now. I would turn off the video right now if I were you. Why? I just need to throw my laptop away, quite honestly. So we'll get there, guys. One day we'll get there. All right, we're going back in time, and yeah, the water's back, and I'm like, what the heck? And jumping into that water is instant death. So I'm kind of like, what the heck is going on? Like, I thought the switch would be pulled down, right? Because I obviously like changed timelines, right? And I assume that we're going back in time, right? So we're going to the past, so that when you change things in the past, then they'll be there in the future, right? So it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me why that lever wouldn't still be pulled down, Like, it just kind of bothered me a little bit. Maybe that lever was pulled down and there was something else I needed to do, but, like, it wasn't very, like, direct in telling you that, like, oh, the lever was still pulled down or whatever. I don't know. It comes to this problem where I understand what the puzzle wants me to do, and I assume that holy crap, I'm still assuming things, right? So maybe that's a problem, that like you need to present your puzzles a little bit better. But I assume that you're supposed to drain the water down to this area where I'm at right now. Maybe it'll fill up with water and it'll give you a way to like cross later on or something. I don't know, because I actually never beat this demo because I was just like really confused. I'm just kind of running around here and just trying to figure out what's going on. Like that wall is not damaged or something, and I'm like, oh, maybe that has to do with something. I feel like they give you the clues, but they never like the clues never like give enough direction. So I feel like some of the puzzles need to be designed a little better, in the sense that like they don't necessarily hold your hand, but they'll give you just enough hints that you kind of figure out what's going on, or the player can figure out what's going on. Because I just kind of get stuck at this point. Honestly, the rest of this footage is just me trying to solve this whole water puzzle, and I don't really figure it out at all. And that's very strange, because going back to the time mechanics, I feel like you got to be really careful, because if you notice this broken statue right here, if you go back in time, which I think I do later on in the video, if you go back in time, that statue is fixed. So obviously things are changing. The intention is that things in the you can affect things in the past to affect things in the future. Here, I changed time, and that statue is back, right? Like I said. And, the closet door is back and all that, so it's just kind of strange that, like, it'll do that for some things, but obviously for the water, like, maybe it didn't do that. And, like, maybe something did change, and that would be cool, but it just never really occurred to me that it happened, You gotta make those things, like, very clear. This is also a really interesting thing. So I actually didn't figure this out right now, but if you move this statue, when you go back to the future, that statue is in the same place you moved it, and it's in ruins. So obviously moving that statue does affect the past. So there are some really good examples of the time mechanic working really well. But maybe in that one instance where it just happened to be a major puzzle thing that it wasn't really working that well. I don't know. It kind of infuriates me because like I wish like maybe I should have explored more or done something. I don't know. I didn't want to like spend too much time trying to figure it out. As far as these orbs that I'm collecting, I open this chest and I collect all these orbs. I don't actually know what they'll be used for. I assume like upgrades, maybe like damage boosts and combat stuff and whatnot. We'll see. The final product will probably show it. As far as like the jumping and platforming go, it'd be nice to have like a shadow underneath the character, just so you can kind of manually aim, or you can visually see where they're gonna land and where their shadow is. Just some nice ease of life things that would make a lot of sense. I'm sure maybe it's just because of the graphics I'm using that like you can't see the shadow or something, but even like a black like dot or something, like a black circle to like represent that this is the player's shadow or something would be nice. Even if it logically doesn't make sense with the environments or whatnot, it's still like a nice thing to do just for game sake, I guess. But also there's this weird crab and I don't know how to defeat it, and I just kind of give up and I'm just like whatever, forget this crab. And the frame rate just goes to crap some more, and yeah. I guess I want to talk a little bit about the music. There's some really weird audio bugs, like when you load the game, the audio just kind of freaks out. But there is this really weird particular thing. In that very first area where there's all those enemies, it seems like the audio is like connected to an object or something within the game world. And so you start out into an area, try to visualize this. You start in the area to the left, right? And I hear in my headphones, because I'm using headphones right now just because it makes for a better experience and I can hear things more clearly and blah, 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 blah. Even on my laptop, if I take the audio out, you could probably hear it. But in that area, you can only hear the audio from the right side of your earphones. And I'm like, what the heck? That's weird. That's very strange, right? But as you move to the right, the audio becomes more clear, and you can hear the audio from both your headphones. And then if you move to the right some more, then you can only hear it to your left. So it's like the audio exists within an object within the game or something. So like it's playing around the fact that your character is moving around, and like I don't know, it was like the weirdest thing in the world. I really don't understand what was happening. So like you gotta fix that, because like I don't know if that was on purpose or like to like freak the player out or something. I don't know, but it was just one of the strangest audio bugs I've ever seen. I fall into some water here, and the dying animation is hilarious in my opinion. You just kind of like, it's really sad, but it's also pretty hilarious. I kind of want to talk about the art style as well. So it seems like this Hercules, he's very chiseled and buff, and he looks really handsome and all that, I'm sure. But I kind of did some research, and I noticed that a lot of the developers are from like East Asian descent, and Hercules looks very East Asian as well, and so do some of the like monsters and stuff. They have more of an East Asian kind of vibe to it. It's like if I look at an MMO like Black Road, like Was I gonna say like Silk Road or something? What's the other one that just came out? Is it like Black Desert? Black Desert. Yeah, there. That's like a kind of Asian MMO as well. And Blade and Soul was also like another one with Asian. It kind of looks like the same sort of like style of like character in the game, and I found it very interesting. But I guess this could be kind of like the like Asian Hercules, you know? And I don't really have a problem with that at all. It's just I feel like the game just needs to be stylized more to maybe like, because it doesn't feel like the character fits in with like the backgrounds and stuff of like the environments and all that. That's how I feel. I think the graphics and the character design and all that can use some more stylization, because personally, even though it looks very like West or Eastern, I think it could still use some more stylization to make itself stand out. Because I know a lot of people will probably look at this and be like, that looks kind of generic, and like, oh, big buff guy with a sword and shield and like beating demons and doing stuff, you know? He doesn't really seem like you should work on the art style and the detail to maybe make the character a little more unique. But that's just my personal preference. I prefer, this is coming from a guy who likes anime weeb shit, and you know, I'm a big dork, and I love anime style and all that, so I don't know. I guess that's just personal preference. As far as personal preference for the music goes, it's alright in places. I think it sounds a little too generic. Like this audio track playing right now with the woman is pretty nice. As far as that goes, and we're coming to an end to the video, so thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to developers. I hope I got some good thoughts out there, and good luck to making this game. Seriously, it has really good parts and really interesting parts to it, so I'm looking forward to like seeing what the rest is about. I think the puzzle elements can be done really well, because the time mechanic, I feel like that's your strongest point right now. Like being able to go back in time and like solving puzzles through just like warping back and forth through time. That's a really cool mechanic. Or like you could even integrate that in the gameplay of like combat somehow. But you know what? You guys be creative as you want with it, because I think there's a lot you can do with that. Just go all out with it. That's my advice. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to check out this game's Kickstarter, you can do that. If you want to play the demo for yourself, see if it runs better than it did for me, you can look down below. They have one on their Kickstarter. They have a demo on their Kickstarter, and they have a demo on their itch page. Actually, I think it's just their itch page. I'm not sure. And I don't know how to end videos, so I'll talk to you guys next time.